All right, guys, we're back again for the third time in less than 24 hours. Yeah, I know y'all probably like, goodness gracious, this boy just love to be on live. He just love talking. Like, why don't he just stop talking so much? Well, it's about bringing the value. It's not about just me coming before you, but me putting other people before you that have knowledge, that have information, and just little pieces of things that they can put out there that you can value from. If you can't, then somebody around you most likely can. And this is going to be the last one for this week, but we got so many more in store. Um, One of the things that we hear a lot in today's day, at least, is the acknowledgement of your health being your wealth, or your health being more important than wealth. Some, things along that spectrum. And sometimes people may not know exactly, what do you mean by that? So you're trying to tell me that I need to stop focusing on making money and just focus on being healthy? Like, kind of elaborate on that for me. Well, it's somewhat of a spectrum. You want to not necessarily only focus on health, but at the same time, you don't want to only focus on wealth. You need to understand the importance of both, but how to live a healthy life balancing the both of them. And understand when it's times to be off balance on purpose. That's something that I love to pour into individuals that I coach. And kind of attribute it to school. Whereas there's times when you're in school where you have to study more than you enjoy playtime. And then there's times where, let's say you're in athletics, where you have to work out or you have to practice more, maybe just a little bit more than you do other things, leisurely activities in life. So understand that there are times for leaning one way a little bit more heavily than others. But today we have a young lady out of South Florida that has garnered an expertise over the years in a couple of different areas when it comes to improving your health, when it comes to understanding that it's not necessarily expensive to eat healthy. And at the same time, she's learned how to combine what she brings to the table with what other people bring to the table so that we can help develop a whole person. So without further ado, I'm going to bring to you Miss Candra Lewis. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing well. I'm sitting here, and I just told you before we went live, I'm putting my do not disturb on. And sometimes those things have it built into where it still lets certain things disturb you. So I got this notification. I'm like, why is this notification coming up?
Right.
Anyways, that's technology for you. Neither here nor there. But you are here and you got some info that you're going to be sharing to the people today. But before we get into anything of substance regarding the topic, let's hear some substance in who Kendra Lewis is. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? And why are you here before us today?
Oh wow. Um, that's a lot.
Take your time. It's
Nope.
all yours.
Yeah. So my name is Candra Lewis. I was originally born and spent like the first 18, 19 years of life in Central Illinois. And then I went and spent some time in Mexico in Valparaiso and Zacatecas. I mentioned that part because that was a pivotal change in how I thought about work, life work balance. And I know we'll get into that as we're talking about health and wealth because we have a grind mentality in the States. You have to grind, you have to grind. And I don't subscribe to that anymore. I had kind of fallen back into it and then I pulled back on that. And then I did some time down south. Then I went to New York. So I actually lived in New York longer than I lived anywhere else. And so that comes out when I'm talking. Sometimes I'm recording my lessons and I try to do it without an accent in between speaking, English, Spanish, Portuguese, French. I live in all these
Right.
different places. The accents will combine. It's like, okay, we have to pull this back, pay attention,
Right.
They especially find it comical when I request a certain hot beverage.
Yeah, I
Coffee.
bet. I bet. Yeah, and that's one of the things with being multicultural. Like you can be in one setting and request a certain something or say a certain something, and they look at you sideways. You're like, ah, crap! I just pulled out my Spanish side in this English environment, and so on and so forth. So I know what you mean.
It just comes out because especially I spent the majority of my life. So I was like 15. I got really it was more so Spanish than English, but
Mhm.
all the way around, it's funny how the different stages in life you think you're just living, and then when you reach a certain stage in life, you realize that all those things taught you something that nobody else can get anywhere else except from you, even if
Mhm.
everybody else says they're doing it. And it's giving me survival skills. It's giving me perspective on life. It's helped me to um, take counsel and be coachable instead of being stuck. And that too goes into the lessons that I teach my clients as well. So, but yeah, that's me now. As you said, I'm in South Florida, and I came down here to get away from the cold, but this is not working.
Yeah. You know, this whole climate change thing, there's always the people out there that say, oh, no, it's a hoax, it's a hoax. Well, these last few years, I've noticed that the seasons just ain't the way they used to be.
No.
And temperatures are being lower than normal at certain times, but we're not accustomed to that, and higher than normal when we're not accustomed to it. And certain parts of the world is seeing more than they're accustomed to seeing as it pertains to snow, as it pertains to heat and a lack of rain.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's crazy out there. So what I want to ask next is kind of some of the things that you mentioned about all these different cultures. How have those different cultures influenced the way that you look at eating, and the way that you see the possibilities of living a certain lifestyle while embracing delicious and a variety of different types of food at the same time?
Oh wow, absolutely. So it starts with my great grandmother and my grandmother. That's where I learned how to cook, and it was reinforced at home because my mother and father would let all of us get in the kitchen. We could get in there and and work it out, and everybody in the house had to cook. Um,
Hmm.
so once I started traveling and getting exposed to different flavors and getting exposed to different types of food and ways of eating, um, I found that aside from the job that I was doing originally, which was very, very stressful, I found relaxation in creating in the kitchen. So when it came time to, I had to make certain switches um, in how I ate, either for a physical goal I had to reach, and then eventually, as when it came to the point where I was pregnant with my son and things like that, um, I found that exposure to different cultures, exposure to different seasonings, actually made the transitioning easier because I already had a multifaceted flavor palette.
Hmm.
And so I go into that. Those whole processes in the book, the Take Control of Feeling Better book, the one that went bestseller. Thank you all who bought it. If you haven't gotten it, get it.
Hold up, hold up, hold up. We're gonna give the people something to look at while we talk. You said that was your book.
Yes, yes. Take Control of Feeling Better. I went into like those different instances where I had to transform how I ate, and those I shared those different stories, and then shared the recipes I actually came up with and everything. And then as I got more into culinary education, digging deeper into um, not just like flavors, but also textures, getting more
Hmm.
into history of food, getting more into how food actually relates to healing. And that's again, I have a great resource for that as well. My sister, Dr. Danielle Lewis, she's a naturopath, and I definitely consult with her a lot, as well as doing research on how the body works and everything, and looking for those foods to help heal the body. So combined with knowing different flavors, knowing those different cultures, so like people can call me and say, oh, I can't eat this anymore. And because I've been doing this for so long, a little over 20 plus years, sometimes right there on the phone, I can rattle off about 5 different recipes, boom, 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 and they'll have them right there before we even get into anything deeper. So that traveling, being culturally open, experimenting with food, all that came together, and it just, and also knowing where to shop to get them where it's not so expensive, like breaking the bank.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know you mentioned a book, and I want to say um, you sent me over, if I'm not mistaken, that's the link for your book.
The
Um,
Amazon, yeah, it's on Amazon right now.
yeah. So give us the title. I want to punch it in. The title of your book.
It's called
Um,
Take Control of Feeling Better.
take. Now that's interesting. So just kind of give us a little more insight on that book before I even make this statement, because there's certain things that I know about the book that by the title some people may not understand or may not know, but kind of give us a little more insight on the book specifically.
So the book is actually a combination of memoir and recipes and strategy. So when things are happening in your life, and especially, when things are happening in my life, um, it felt very out of control. Something was going on. It was unexpected. Being, what happened with my grandmother, things that happened with me, um, what happened, during the birth of my son. These things are out of your control. However, the path that you take once you have knowledge is within your control. We are everywhere we're at because of decisions that we made. Do we choose left or do we choose right? And I had to decide, was I going to go with how I was used to eating? Was I going to go with how I was used to working out? Was I going to do those different things? And then I had to control how long it was going to take for me to pivot. And when you have the big picture, having that big picture of what you want life to be, where you want to go, what your goal is stronger than that moment where you're about to fall off the wagon, so to speak,
Hmm.
and do something. I honestly feel like even though the way that I've eaten has transformed through the years, I don't think I've ever eaten better than when I was pregnant with my son, because that the determination was not just outside. I was pregnant with him. He was right there. Everything I did affected him. If we all saw our bodies the same way that a mother does when she's fighting for the life of her child, can you imagine what better choices we would make when we're going to the grocery store? Funny thing is that back in the day, I posted this the other day because they're banning red dye 3.
Hmm.
There's red dye 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way through 40. You keep going. There's a lot of red dyes. Ban them all. Why do you need them? They have no nutritional value. It's just for the eyes. But our eyes have been trained to purchase it that way.
Hmm.
So, for example, I used to back home. I used to do historical dinners. So I would research, and I'm planning on bringing that back too. I would research the original way the recipe was made. So one night, one of the things on the menu was red velvet cake. So I had the two there. I had the original way that it was made, and I had the way that we have it now. The original one was very dark because it was chocolate. It was actually called beet cake. And I made the icing different, all the different things with natural ingredients, with clean ingredients instead. And I also made it how they said, to make it how everybody's doing it now. Every guest at the party preferred the beet cake.
Mm.
But when you have been psychologically programmed that everything has to be this color, because why? Because we want you to buy this because we're manufacturing. And if we use this, we can cut your ingredients. We have less expense on the back end. So our margin is higher. And here you go, your red velvet cake. This is what we're dealing with in the marketplace. And we have to be empowered more. And that's my mission. Empower your mind more than what they're programming you to try to do, and stop thinking everything is a freaking conspiracy. It's not. It's just right in your face. They're not conspiring against you anymore. They're telling you, we're going to give you this. It can't kill you, but it's your choice.
Yeah. And you know, not even just thinking about food in and of itself, but thinking about a lot of the medications that we take. You have to understand that the fine print for foods, just like the fine print on medications, when they do those ads, they usually read through the fine print super quick and make it super fine. So you don't really look at it as important. But that's the most important part of everything. And
Side effect: arm falling off, leg falling off.
exactly. You may become suicidal and not want to live anymore, but at least this will make you a little skinnier. So, so you have to read the fine print. And when it comes to food, the fine print is in the ingredients. But most of the time, you don't understand what these words mean. So actually, stop and do your or take your time to understand what these ingredients actually are, and
Mhm.
when you do, you'll realize, oh my goodness, I'm actually eating styrofoam. I'm actually eating rubber. I'm actually
Mhm.
eating pesticides. Like you don't understand it. And they don't want you to understand it because they
Yeah.
want you to keep buying it.
Yes,
So you
exactly.
you mentioned the certain dyes and such, and how, in today's day, especially across America, everything needs to be vibrant, and the colors need to pop, and not only the colors on the packaging, but the colors in the actual food.
Hmm.
They're injecting fake dye into meat just to make the blood look fresher and such, when it's really supposed to have the brownish tint.
Hmm.
um, and you look at how the foods look here in the United States specifically, and then you travel to some of these other countries,
Yes,
and it's the exact same food, but it looks completely different.
and
The
taste
taste is
different too.
different.
Completely.
Yeah, and you don't realize how unhealthy you are until you go, or how unhealthy we are being forced to be in the United States, until
Hmm.
you spend time in another country, you eat there for a while, and then you come back here, and
Hmm.
your body starts to react differently to the foods that you used to be accustomed to
Yes.
eating, because your body has got accustomed to eating healthier, real, truly natural food. So, kind of speak to some of your experience on that front, and how that may have influenced you into the healthier eating phase as well, like experiencing
Mhm.
food from country to country.
That could be a movie. That could,
Hmm.
maybe we'll make it a movie. You want to do that? Let's.
Might have, you might
It was
have
an
to do
excuse to
that.
travel the world. But I do remember when I was in Mexico, and living down there. Um, Everything was made, like literally. I'm walking out here, with my friends, cousins, and the we're talking to the goats and things. I'm like, oh, they're so cute. I said, yeah, be dinner. Who are you talking about? It's great.
Mhm.
Because I was up here. I used to go to the grocery store, starting the sasas at 4 o'clock in the morning, because I also ran a restaurant. So I really learned how to make all those things. But get this, before I went down there, I used to eat at a certain taco establishment. So coming back, driving across the border a year or so later, um, yeah, stopped at that same establishment because why? Oh, I just missed tacos. I want tacos, and already that quick, right? Got sick. The entire carload of us got sick. I have
And
never been
look, hold up, time out.
there yet.
We put people on blast. We naming establishments.
Taco Bell.
Yes, that's what I assumed. Now, this is for everybody out there that loves Taco Bell,
Mm-mm.
me included. It ain't no good for you. Like, we have to start to understand that Taco Bell is fake Mexican food. It ain't real. It's not authentic.
It's not even close. It's
Yeah,
not even
not
close.
nowhere near close.
There's so when you actually like go if you want Mexican food, if you have friends that are Mexican, go to their house.
Right?
That's Mexican food. Get your flatas, gorditas, get there's a whole array and each region has their own.
Mm-hmm.
Each region had the same way we have food here. You have food that is, indigenous to the northwest of our US, the southern cooking, you've got Gullah Island out there where there's so it's don't just think that it's like when it comes here for some reason we only want a bit and piece of it when there's so much to explore. I literally I in the past like oh so I really got more into it. My son is 19 now, but when he was 14 years old at that time I realized I had over 3,000 recipes that
Mm.
I had made. And because of how my mind works, I started like, writing a lot of them down, recording them, for him, putting them in format for my clients because I can recall them. But unless he asked for it at the age of 14, unless he had asked me for a dish again, we literally had a different meal every day.
Now
When
that's
you
that's
learn,
that's that's big.
yeah,
Like, not many can say that they can do that.
no, they can't do. And it's like, because I downplay a lot of things. It wasn't until he actually said that he was talking to one of his friends, and the kids would literally have to, if they would request something, oh, can we have this, or can you make this soup, or can you do that? Sure, you know. And I go right back in the repertoire and just um, making different types of moles with if I'm. It was hard to find certain chiles up here, so I was able to figure out a way to get the texture and the flavor from combining two other different chiles and cranberries to get the flavor and the texture. But it takes, tweaking it, then I simplify it down and then I, put it out. But, just having those, and even now there's certain things we used to eat as kids. I
Hmm.
used to be a cereal fiend. You get up in the morning, just give me some cereal. No,
I was too, once upon a time.
no, I'm still cut oats and everything, but I don't even like to bring boxes of cereal in the house. But my son still stays at home, so he likes cereal. So now I'm looking for healthier cereals. And then I'm getting to the point where it's like we just moved, so I'm like, stocking things up. And I'm like, I'll just make my own cereal. I'll just get a glass container, not plastic. Movie I recommend that everybody watch. We're all plastic people now. Watch that
Oh, that's,
movie.
let me write that down.
Yeah.
We're all plastic people now.
We're all plastic people now. I saw the title and I giggled at first. And I said, let me watch this because I thought it was going to be, where we're all walking around, oh, we're plastic. Highly insightful. Highly
Now,
insightful.
I've heard statements here and there regarding studies where they found that X percentage of all kids born are born with a certain percentage of plastic like already in them.
Yes.
That's insane. That is
Yes.
insane.
Yes. They did a comparison. They studied the grandmother, the father and mother, and the daughter.
Mm.
The grandmother had less. Her kids had more. The young girl, like 7 or 8 years old, I think, had a high concentration of it. Now, you think if you're walking around with these plastic microplastics in your body, what's that going to do to your health? But again, we're marvelously made. So if we cut down on it and give our body a fighting chance, we can start kicking certain things out.
Hmm.
The way that we're going to be exposed. It's in the rain. There's not a place on earth that's not exposed to microplastics right now. And there is science and technology that can, you know, clean it up, but everything comes down to the dollar. So we have to start speaking with our dollars. If you're not going to clean it up, we're not going to buy from you.
Yeah.
Um, we have to start shifting how we spend and everything. But we do live in a world of convenience. So what we're trying to do is educate, our clients through our health and wellness business, not just about being healthier, but paying attention to the fact that there's a time factor, but there's also a learning curve. So, for example, when we were kids, my father would take us to the grocery store and he would make us calculate. This is before the grocery stores did it. I'm dating myself a little bit, but this is before the grocery stores did it. He would make us calculate which one was the better buy. So as we would see the price and be like, yeah, this is cheaper. And he would be like, wait a minute, what's the price per ounce? And he would make us calculate the price per ounce so that we could figure out which one was going to be the better buy for a family of six, and sometimes would expand to eight, things like that, of for food, right? I remember being so irritated. I'm like, why do you have me standing here doing this? I don't want to, right? Within a couple of years, guess what I could do real fast? He was like, Ken, what's the price per ounce? Okay. And now as an adult, it's automatic. Even though they have it up there, I'm actually looking at the price per ounce to see, do I need to spend a little bit more for this to go further, or are they, is it really worth it to get the smaller one? Is what am I using it for? But I do all that on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
Being patient with the learning curve. We can't want everything right now. Learn the different patterns, get the foundation, and then it speeds up because it begins to become second nature. Again, I've been doing this for over 20 plus years. So if I rattle it off to somebody, of course they're gonna look at me like you crazy. But
Yeah.
with Darren and I's company, we give them the foundation as well, and then start building up on that. Um, they'll see within a short amount of time, oh wait, okay, well I did this. Okay, look how far I've come, and keep building on that. But definitely things that people can do. First of all, do not heat your food up in the microwave in anything plastic. I don't care if it's microwave safe or not. Get glass. Make sure your ceramic is really ceramic. You know, um, there make sure your dishes are that you can cover it, in something, cover it with paper towel, make a dome, do something. I'll take a glass bowl and make a dome out of something, but I really don't like to use my microwave a lot anyway. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
big microwave person. Um, so just, and people laugh at me all the time because I'll throw stuff in the oven to heat it up, but there's a method to the madness. I've trained myself to know when I want to have something to eat or something like that. Throw it in the oven and everything, go and maximize my time doing something that I need to do. But by the time I need to, eat my lunch or whatever, it's heated up in the oven. We're done. I don't try to run in there at 12 o'clock and be like, oh my goodness, let me throw this in. It's all about organizing, being regimented, and carving out that time. And you and I both know that we make our schedules and everything, and we stick to them as much as we can, as much as within
Yeah.
your control.
Yeah, true. But that's the thing. Most people aren't as intentional as they could be in their time. Like, there's people to this day, and they've been knowing, like, they'll just call me out the blue. I'm probably not going to answer
No,
because I have already designated that specific time to something or someone else. I love you. I don't have anything against you. But if I stop what I'm doing every time my phone rang, I would never get anything done. So you have to be more intentional with your time.
we'll take
So
that a step further. There's
yeah.
some things I'm just not talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the first quarter. We're on a 90-day run. I'm not talking about certain things right now because talking about that is not going to feed my family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
That is
your
so true.
intention even needs to go down to what are you talking about, and that's controlling your health too,
Mm-hmm.
because what a lot of people don't realize is you're on the phone, you know lollygagging about something, and that's fine, but when you're stressed out about a bill needs to be due. Did you take the time to build something for you to make sure that 90 days from now you can sit down and have that lollygag conversation, because then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be stressed and it was going to happen. What's it going to aggravate in your system, in your health?
Mm-hmm.
So, little thing, but every little thing is a building block towards your health and your wealth. Every little thing. And at first, I didn't see it. And sometimes when I'm networking, people are like, well, how in the world are you going to marry, health and wealth? How do you? It is a given, it's a bottom line. If you don't have the money, you are going to be stressed. Stress is a killer. It
Mm-hmm.
messes with your health, but you need your health to create your wealth. So, what are you going to do?
They go
You
hand in
better take
hand.
care of them both.
Yeah, it's so real. Like, and it's one of the things. Like people will come to me for business coaching and help them to grow their entrepreneurial journey, but then they're doing these unhealthy things, or they're eating unhealthy. They're in an unhealthy relationship. They don't have a good relationship with their parents or with their, like, all of these things, mental, personal, physical, all these different healthy areas, they coincide with you being able to efficiently run a business. And then at the same time, when it comes to your finances, if you don't have your finances in order, sometimes it can make it more difficult to be as healthy across these different spectrums as you can. But there's always ways, there's always things that you can do to help make things a little bit easier, so to say, even if you don't have the finances. So let's
Yes.
kind of transition in that direction. So many people have the excuse, well, it just costs too much money, it's too expensive to be healthy. Like, I can just run to the corner store, or to the grocery store, or not the grocery store, to, well, the center aisles in the grocery store, or to the fast food joint, and it's just so much more convenient, it's so much cheaper. What do you say to that type of person that says it's too expensive to be healthy?
All right. So every month, every week, every day, I'm looking at the budget. I'm tracking spending. I'm comparing.
So you mean people need to like track where their money
Yes.
is going?
Yes.
What?
They need a tracker. If you need one, get a hold of myself, get a hold of Brian. We have the systems for you. And you need to invest. Let's talk about that. Let's put that word out there. Invest in the systems to help simplify that so you can focus and save the time. If a lot of people would pull those receipts, right? Pull the receipts of what you spent at the last fast food place. Just track it for a week. You driving through, McDonald's, you driving through, in some locations, I think they still have Hardee's, driving
Hmm.
through, these different places. How much did you spend? Right? It is not going to cost you less than 20 plus for a family of four in a fast food place. That's calculated on, even if they had a little $4, $5 meal. You got four people, you spent $20, right? So you spent 5 days a week, that's $100. That's if you only do one meal, and that's if you only get like the value pack that they have. But the majority of them are costing between, 12 and 13, but you're thinking that you're getting this value thing. So just calculate that. So 100, right? So then if you take that $100, right, and you go to the grocery store. Now let's say you go to the grocery store and then you go down the center aisle. Okay. So you're going down the center aisle and you've got the ready-made stuff, you got the ready-made stuff, right? So that could cost you, anywhere from a couple hundred going down the center aisle, right? Now, let's say you allow us at Beauty and the Straight Wolf to help you innovate, right? Help you learn how food works. Go around the outside of the aisle. Let's say you pick up, a bag of kale or greens and things like that. Let's say and these can cost like a dollar something. Let's say you go to the farmer's market. So little tidbit I'm gonna throw out here while we're talking about grocery shopping. If you are on food stamps, check with your local farmer's market. I found this out a couple months ago when I was like, what is this table over here? Kind of back in the cut. People who with food stamps can go to this to certain tables or have a way where they can accept food stamps at farmers markets. So check with your local farmers market and see if they have that transfer capability. So take the EBT, give them certain coins, they take them to the vendors out there. And in some places, it even doubles the points. So you're getting fresh fruits and vegetables at your farmers market and able to use your EBT card there. So it's worth it to check. In Florida, they do have places like that. They do have farmers markets like that. So if you're innovating, if you're cooking, right? So last night, for example, I didn't send you a picture. I should have took a picture I made. So we had cauliflower gnocchi. All right. Now, if you're going to get something that's pre-made, first of all, make sure it's worth it by reading the ingredients. Okay. But then I also had salmon. So we had gnocchi, salmon, right? So what else did we have? We had some spinach that looked like it needed to go. So, and then we had some different seasonings. So I took the spinach, this is where the culture comes in. Took spinach and had some Thai seasonings that had like a sweet and heat thing to it. So that's what I sauteed the spinach in.
Mm.
Then took the salmon, seasoned the salmon with chimichurri. Who combines that? We did. And then when I did the gnocchi, I took that, sauteed it down, had a little bit of almond milk, condensed it down to make a cream sauce, and then added a little bit of truffle aioli. The price of that meal per person came about $5. And that was only because of
Wow.
the truffle aioli. Take that out, it came down to $1.38. And we
That's
tore it
crazy.
up and we were full. So when you start to cook and you start to do per person per plate, and you're spending $1.35 per plate, $2 per plate, as compared to you going through a fast food place and you're spending 5 to 10, are you really saving money?
It
And
makes a
then the cost
difference.
going forward, which one is better for your body?
Mm-hmm. It's gonna add up to those
Yes.
medical bills. So one thing that I saw not too long ago, and what you just mentioned about the spinach just now, oftentimes people their food goes from a certain quality, and after it sits there for a few days, it goes to a different quality. Like you got a really super ripe banana, and then it goes and it's like nice brownie, start a little bit, it's a little smushy. People have understood that, oh, I can use that smushy banana for a pudding or for some other type of dish. Whereas the ripe banana, maybe it was good for, whatever type
Mm-hmm.
of snack, but they don't realize you can do that same thing with other types of food
Yes.
as well. The spinach, I know for one, I've used older spinach to create some sort of
Yes.
sauce with, blend it up and create a sauce. Whereas the newer spinach, more crisp, use it for a salad. And I recently saw something to where they said once your rice has gotten a little bit older and it starts to get smushy, you can blend it and mix it with a couple different things and make a pizza crust
Mm-hmm.
with your rice, your leftover rice. So kind of give some insight on the importance of not just throwing things away because it starts to age. And if you have any at, just in the top of your head, what are some examples of some foods that can be used differently as it starts to age a bit?
Absolutely. And that right there, that what you just said, it has so much impact just in that one little thing. Because if you're throwing out less trash, right? If you're decided you're going to compost because you have a garden or things like that, imagine the impact on the environment with less waste. So for example, going back to the banana, right? You can actually take the peels, make sure you clean everything. You can take the peels and make a tea. That tea will help to
Mm,
clean you out. Okay. If you're like having some difficulty going
wow.
to the restroom and things like that, make you take a banana, just steep it, make a tea out of it. Okay. And you want to pull nutrients as much as you can. There are ways to take that, season it up with cumin and stuff like that, and you make a banana bacon. Um, you can take the whole lime that you have and put it with cinnamon and use the bark of the cinnamon and use the skin. of the onion. You know how most people, they cut it off, they throw that out. You can take
Mm-hmm.
that, steep it together, and you have a detoxing tea for when you have colds, flus, things like that to help your immune system. Um, there is like, I pretty much try to use everything. If I've riced cauliflower, I will actually take the
Mm-hmm.
stems of the cauliflower and everything and steam it down, make it a little mushy, and then blend it up. And you can make a cream sauce out of that because cauliflower is very like it's when you put it with other herbs and spices, the flavor can change up and things like that. Just a lot of things. Use your stems and things to make your broths. Make your own stock, make your own, get all those things, condensed down for our meat eaters. If you have, chicken or turkey, once you've pulled everything off the bone, take everything, make stock out of it, and get the rest of it. And then whatever's left over from, that stock, when you strain it out, you throw it together, make chili, because everybody wants to chop everything up anyway. So there's a lot of different things. Hey, there's my lovely Marshall blender. Hi, Marshall. That is, you're going to have to
I
get with
love it.
Marcial. You have to get Marcial. Marcial is a genius when it comes to, how I am with food. Marcial is that way with
Mm-hmm.
hair. Yes.
Really. Marcel, I might need to talk to because my hair is gone. We need a miracle creating whip
And
up.
with fragrance too, if you're trying to get your smell good on. That's
Right. So on that front, is there would you what you just mentioned, do you have that information like together somewhere to deliver? Is that by chance in your book, or that is that something that people will have to go elsewhere to get
okay.
access to?
So me, Darren and I just launched our membership for Beauty in the Straight World, and the link is there for
Okay.
that. We've decided to go with the WAP platform and everything. So you come into the membership, and we start to build your foundation, and then we're dispensing all of that in there. Plus, our members get discount on the one-on-one coaching for different events we're going to have. But we wanted to start to build community, and I do know that we are living in the free age, and there are a lot of things that on my Instagram too, for my son LLC. I'm going to be putting some
Mm-hmm.
things on there. But one thing that I've noticed as we're in, the free culture, when it comes to that step up type thing, you got to be willing to at least put $1 on yourself. Because I hear a lot of
Yeah.
people say, I paid for that, so I'm going to get it done. So if we're wanting to get you healthier, um, we want you to be willing to invest in you, because you're going to come harder with it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be determined with it. Why? Because you spent this money, and I'm not wasting this money. Okay. So you will
Yeah.
build the foundation. You will do what you need to do. But I'm definitely going to be putting more of that on for my son LLC on Instagram. We're redoing the web page, so if they follow me on Instagram, they'll see when the new web page launched, and they'll be able to get hints from there. Um, we have a free consultation, 15-minute consultation, that they'll be able to find that link on our Instagram as well, and really, see where they're at. We'll meet you where you're at, and if you're ready to go to that next level, because we push each other every day, all day. Right now, I'm coming out of dealing with being exposed to toxins, and I will share that for importance. Not too much detail, you know? But in April of this year, I almost died. My son did save my life. And because I was grinding, that's why I removed that word from my vocabulary. I was going, you go hard. That's all the language, right? You go hard. No, you need to go smart. Let's start there. Go smart.
Yeah.
But when I was in the hospital, I had set that time where I was forced to, you know, see what was going on. The biggest lessons I got: one, remove the grind, put the smart. Second, if I had not been doing the things that I had been doing all these years to actually take care of myself, I would not have made it till April. So everybody who thinks, they came in real strong with the New Year's resolution that they were going to get right, and then they kind of fell off. Yeah, I'll do it
Mm-hmm.
later. Okay, we'll see. If I had done it later, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
So do it now. Contact us now. Um, Start now. Every little step, and stop looking at everybody else and look at you. I don't care what, who bounced back after they had their baby. That's good on them. Maybe that didn't happen for you. Maybe you need a little extra support. Come on, we got you. You know, I don't care who jumped up after they had certain surgeries. That's them. Maybe you don't have the nutrients or the muscle build. So um, stay off the scale. I'm not, let your doctor worry about scale. You don't worry about scale. You worry about what you put in your mouth and how often you go to the gym and move your body. And all of that will align. It all aligns. So, yes.
That's beautiful. And honestly, a lot of people, a lot of people are so accustomed to comparing themselves to others, and so accustomed to compare themselves to what the world expects of you, what society says you should be doing, so on and so forth, that they fall out of alignment with really understanding what they themselves actually need to push forward in life. I know one of the things that I do a lot in my financial behavior coaching is helping people understand that you got to stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. You got to stop trying to purchase this, that, and the third just because it's going to have me as part of the in crowd. It's what everybody is wearing right now. It's, you got to get this or you ain't cool. Like, no, don't be that person. Stop comparing yourself to everybody else. And I'm telling you, once I got to a point in my life to where I really embraced that mindset, and I stopped having cable TV simply because that's just normal to have a cable TV pack. I haven't had cable TV since 2015 when I left Miami, and having to buy the newest hottest clothing, if it ain't got my brand on it, I'm probably buying the most plain, no logo. When it's coming out my pocket, the most plain, no logo, anything. I don't want you to see me representing somebody else's last name. I want you to see me representing my last name, my brand, because that's going to drive activity, drives so much to me. And I'm not trying to be impressed or trying to impress anybody else by what I have on me. And that's one of the things that people end up doing. They want to go to these high end restaurants, they want to go eat at these fancy places that's not really giving them any health or substance, because the value that they lack inside themselves to give out to the world, they're trying to mask that with, let me go and put on clothing, let me go and show up at a restaurant that valuable people own so I can have some value attached to my name.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to the point where you have the confidence and the competence within yourself, understanding the value that you bring to the world, you don't have to use someone else's brand or someone else's name
Mm-hmm.
to add to you. So when you got to the point of understanding that, I kind of understand this whole healthy way of living, so on and so forth, and ultimately you partnered up with Darren to create Beauty and the Straight Wolf. What what were some of the things that you really wanted to be able to, like, what would you say is the focus, the message you want to drive home to individuals that take advantage of programs like Beauty and the Straight Wolf, and kind of give a little insight on the spectrum of what they'll be getting from that program?
So, Beauty and the Straight Wolf isn't just a program, it's a movement. It
I
is an
like that.
entire movement, because between both of us, we had a lot of loss. And I was actually on a plane flying back to Florida from saying goodbye to someone who was basically like my heart, you know. And I but I lost a lot of pieces of my heart in 2023. I lost my best friend. And I mean, it was coming. You remember I was calling. We got up
Mhm.
to, by December it was 28 people,
It's crazy.
and it just kept going. And another dear friend of ours, she lost like 30 plus people, and then you don't realize what that does to you. And I called him from the plane, and I was noticing that there were certain patterns. Um, there was times where the medical field would just decide we're going to stop treatment. Who are you to decide that? If I decide I want to fight to my last breath, shouldn't you fight with me? Why do they get to decide that? Why are, is it that a doctor says you need this treatment, and an insurance company is saying wasting 30 days when it's your life that's on the line? So yes, there's legislation that can change and all of that, but not waiting for them.
Mm-mm.
BATSW is not waiting for them. We're doing it now, and we're constantly growing resources to get access to doctors who will make it affordable, you know. And yes, I do lean more toward a naturopathic way, because how is, giving me certain toxic treatments going to cure my tox? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but it's knowing your body and knowing what you can handle. And even if people have already gone to their physician and their physician says, you know, you need to cut down on, sugar before you're not borderline diabetic anymore, you are diabetic. And so the family's looking at them and saying, okay, well, you need to stop. And they don't understand why they're sneaking bags. They're seeing bags in the trash for for the person who's diabetic. Well, there's a mindset. So we work on the mindset and the understanding that when your body is actually going through things and you're literally craving certain things, like you are just going to pass out if you don't get it, it is because of what's going on with you, and helping you to understand, embrace that, and fight. That's where the foundation comes from. That's
Mm-hmm.
the mission. And we're constantly growing every day, getting those resources together where we can actually help people um, get what they need without having to deal with all the red tape. So when they come to us in the membership, yes, they're getting, the foundation, and yes, they're getting the food and the fitness and all the different calming things and self-care things, but they're becoming part of a movement, because we're supposed to be dispensing this. And if we just save one life out of this, if one person rings the bell because we help them, if one person comes off of cholesterol, and high blood pressure medicine because we help them, if one person has better readings because we help them, if one person walks better because they got in the gym, then we've done our job, but we're not done. And then we will take them to and get them into, they will have the option to get into the wealth network. They will have the option to get the tools they need to maximize the money that they have, to, get opportunities to have more income, the things that we didn't have. You know, when I lost everything, there were so many resources that were not there for me. When we became homeless, there were resources that were not there for us. So we take all those life lessons and bring them, to the masses. And we're looking for the people who are ready to make moves. If you're ready to make moves, find us when you're ready. We'll be here. But if you're ready to make moves, join us.
I love it. I love it. And this is the link to join that movement. We'll be dropping it in the comment section as well, so you guys can copy and paste. But yeah, it's got to be a movement. It can't be just a something, a program. It's got to be a movement to cause people to actually get out and take action. So, as we get ready to wind down, before we get ready to close out, what are some of the focus areas that you have going on when it comes to the wealth creation side? I know, you know, people getting their health into a certain place can help them focus a little bit more on the wealth creation side of things. But you specifically, what are some of these spaces that you're operating in to help people start to generate more wealth?
Okay, so definitely building an accountability group. So they can reach out to me, message me on my Facebook, and if they're like, yes, I want to be accountable, I would like to be part of your accountability group, I'll send in the guidelines for that. Also, I sent you the link to a course that I have for getting business started. It's Business Foundation, and right now this for this weekend, not sure what day this weekend is going to end, because that's a very value packed course, and it's not
Mm,
just like, oh, you studied and you know. Module 1, take action. You started building your business already and getting things in line so that you can access business credit. You see all this stuff on the internet where it's like, yes, if you just have your EIN, you'll qualify. No. So you want to make sure you have this stuff together. And it's if when I do it in person, it's about 4 figures. On its own, it's about 3 figures, like close to like 600. But right now, you take action now, you're going to find a steep discount. But not only that, it's not just the course itself. Purchasing that course gets you access to the network and resources. And one major resource, of course, is pain, because that accountability needs to keep going through. Your book pain holds them accountable and keeps them growing through. You don't just want to take a course and leave it on the shelf. So many times we get information and we do nothing with it.
mm-hmm.
But if they take, it's called Getting Business Right, taking this, it cost me literally, I kid you not, I lost access to possible thousands of dollars I could have used to grow business faster. Save yourself the pain, get the course, follow it through to build your foundation, get a hold of the information and the resources you need to continue to specialize your business, get your access to government funding. Wonderful lady, I'll throw her name out here. Her name is Liliana Marie, out of the Bronx, but she's one of the resources. You get the course, you'll get your connection to her, to get you in line for government contracts and get you the education you need. So we're not just out there putting out courses. Those courses are a gateway into everything we've done. Save yourself time, save yourself pain, save yourself money. But if you do it this weekend, not only are you starting off in, first quarter, where it's like, okay, you know what, now that I've taken this, I've already got my business together, I've got access, run with us for the 90 days. Really, like, go ahead, get the business established. Okay, I'm in for my son's network. So now what do we do next? How I'm holding myself accountable on the budget. I'm staying resource with, legacy. I'm getting in here, with financing and budgeting. I'm getting, access to our wealth explosion, things like that, that really help, and instead of taking that pain, because also people need to pay attention to the shift that is happening. If you're not paying attention to all different shifts that are happening with social media, with AI, what you're witnessing is probably something around like what the Industrial Revolution. There's so much changing. Do not get left behind.
Oh yeah, that's so real. And I've spoken on it to a certain degree on some of my previous episodes, and
Mhm.
most likely I'm going to bring some people in to speak a little bit deeper on some of these AI spaces. I had a client right before I went live with you that I was speaking with, who I got to send her some resources on how to use AI to benefit her business growth. It's one of those things you're gonna get left behind if you learn how to use it. So as we get ready to close out, are there any final calls to action that you want to make sure that people grasp before we call it a morning, an afternoon, depending on where you're listening from?
Just seriously, like, as I'm networking, I'm meeting so many people that I'm a habitual connector. um, and there's so many people where I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. I need what you have. Oh, I never thought of that. I need what you have. So take action on two fronts. Definitely take action with us. But there's something up here that somebody needs. Take action. Don't take it with you to the grave. We need you.
Hmm. That's real. So, just to kind of tie a ribbon on it, we're not granted tomorrow. Tomorrow is not granted. If there's anything that you've been meaning to do, that you want to accomplish, that you want to get started, find a way to take at least one step toward it today. Don't wait. Take one step towards it today, because you don't know if you're going to be able to speak tomorrow, if you're going to be able to think clearly tomorrow, if you're going to be here, period, tomorrow. So at least start the process today, because tomorrow never gets here, honestly. Because when the current tomorrow comes, it's going to be called today. And then you're going to say, tomorrow I'll do it. But when that tomorrow comes, it's going to be called today. So when you're saying tomorrow, you're always putting it away into the future. And the future is now. So just do it now. So with that being said, that's going to be a wrap for today. I'm going to send you to the backstage real quick. Kendra, I'm going to close out with the audience. Then I'm going to come out and close out with you. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
All right. All right, so that was another episode, the third or fourth that we've had this week. I want to say third, one, two, three, no, fourth, our fourth episode this week alone. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I'm not doing four in one week again. This has been so much work, so strenuous to get the proper promotion out on time, and I'm gonna drop down to at the most two per week, starting next week, but I feel like my flow is going to be easiest to do two per month maybe, but we'll see. I got a couple things. I got to make sure all my systems are properly put in place. But make sure you go and check the comment section. I'm going to be dropping. And if you're watching on YouTube, check the description section. I'm going to drop all the information that we've spoken on, all the different links, how to take advantage of what, when, where, and why. But with that being said, guys, we're out of here. Y'all go and enjoy the rest of your week, the rest of your day, as you navigate into the weekend. Understand that TGIF, specifically for my entrepreneurs, TGIF stands for the grind includes Friday. But that grind, make sure you don't go too crazy with it. Kendra told us, don't go too crazy with the grind. Make sure you keep your health as a priority. So while you grind through the weekend, keep the health as a priority, and understand that we got to go get it every single day, regardless of what it is, being our health, being the goals that we're accomplishing or chasing, trying to accomplish. We have to make a concerted effort every single day to go out and make the impact on our lives and on the lives of those around us every single day. And with that being said, we're out of here. We'll be back. As of now, I don't have another session scheduled until the final week of the month. So just in case I don't see you guys between now and then, y'all stay well, stay warm wherever you are. If you're listening from abroad, on the other side of the world, stay cool because I know it's hot. And